Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan, and if you're new here, I post content about my health, wellness, and mindset journey. I have had quite a journey, and I'm still on this journey. And today, I wanted to make a video about learning to accept help. This has been a struggle of mine for a really long time, and so I'm going to dive in about my own personal journey and then shed some light on things that I am doing or that I've done to overcome this internal struggle. Because not only does not accepting help affect you as a person, but it affects your outside relationships as well. So if you're somebody who struggles with this, stay tuned to the end of this video because I know that this is going to be a good one for you. And if you haven't already, please, if you like this video, like it, please subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't dove into my other content, I highly suggest that you do. Okay. So this whole concept about accepting help. I was raised as somebody who I was raised by somebody who is very adamant that nobody does anything for you for free. Nothing in life is free. People always have an alternative motives. I was raised in a household where these are like common topics that I heard growing up. And so what this led me to feel and grow up with the understanding as an adult is not to trust anybody, to feel like everybody has their own motive. And so if I accept help from somebody, that means I'm going to have to go back and do something in return from them. I also grew up as an adult thinking that by accepting help, that means that something's wrong with you or that you're weak. And these are all not really conducive ideas and thoughts as being just a normal functioning human being. I personally feel I realized about a couple of years ago how much these concepts had been really affecting not only me and my mental headspace, but also my relationships with other people. And it wasn't until I had been diagnosed with a rare disease that was making me lose my vision that I actually learned what it was to accept help from others and to not have shame about accepting help. So it took me until I was about 30 years old to realize that some of these ideas and programming that I had had growing up were actually not suiting me for who I wanted to be. And I had to work really, really hard to learn to accept help and understand that when people were offering to help me, that it wasn't because that they looked down on me or because I was weaker than them. It was simply because they could help and they wanted to help. And it was almost me doing a disservice to them by me not accepting their help. I was very much in my head about what that means to accept help from others. And as I mentioned, whenever I was diagnosed with the disease that I had been diagnosed with, whenever I had to stop driving, whenever I was not working for a couple of years because I was just really focusing on my physical health and getting back into a good mental space after that diagnosis, whenever I wasn't working financially, I needed help. There was a point in time when life kind of threw me a curveball and taught me that accepting help is actually a part of life. We as human beings just naturally we have a sense of community. What is that like? It's a human instinct that we need in order to connect with other people. And a part of us connecting with other people is us, back in the day, we all lived in communities and we supported each other. We raised each other's kids. We grew food for our community. It's natural for us to accept help from others because we know that at one point when you're accepting help, that somebody down the road, they may also need help from you in the future. Or something that I learned, something that one of my cousins told me whenever I was accepting help from her a couple of years ago, is that when I'm accepting help, that it is important for me to do that so that when in the future, if I come into a position where I can help somebody else, even if it's not my cousin who helped me, even if it's just a random stranger on the street, that if I'm in a position where I can help somebody else, I will remember when somebody helped me. And so, me learning this idea about what it means to accept help, that it's totally natural, it's okay. Not everyone has ulterior motives. And even if they do have ulterior motives, it doesn't mean that I have to accept whatever those motives are. And to be able to accept help and know that there should be no strings attached. If there are strings attached, it's okay for me to have boundaries, to not follow through with whatever that person's ulterior motive was by helping me. And so these were things that were really important to my own like journey, my own self-discovery by, you know, when I got into a position where I couldn't drive anymore and I had to allow people to drive me places, when I had to allow people to come pick me up because I was no longer driving due to my vision, these were things that I really didn't have much control over. I literally couldn't drive anymore. And so this was just the universe's funny way of saying, hey, I know that you've been struggling your whole life by accepting help from people and this whole concept behind that, but I'm going to throw you a curveball and like force you into a position where you have to accept help. There's a lot of people that I see specifically in like the low vision community or the blind community. And a lot of people struggle with accepting help. I see specifically even men. I totally get why it may feel like you're less than a man or you're weak or this could be a challenge to your masculinity by like accepting help from others. But the truth is that like, it's important for us to accept help. It's a act of love. If we cannot accept help, we cannot accept love. And I really think that this is a really important lesson, not only for myself, but just for other people, that if somebody is offering to help you, if you need help, don't be afraid to accept it. Don't be afraid to ask for it. You have to remember that if somebody is offering it, that means they want to do that for you. If you're asking somebody for help and they agree, it's because they want to do that. We are not in a position to decide that what somebody else is, what their motives are, or what they're personally trying to get out of giving you help. That's not something that we really need to be deciding. It's really important for us to understand that if we're somebody who struggles with accepting help from others, that it's a challenge, it's an opportunity for us to grow by just asking or accepting help. It's something that I know personally, I can't operate in this life by myself. There's no possible way I could like do all of the things that I needed to do. And a lot of times we don't even understand by like us going to a grocery store and buying food, or us like calling an Uber, or us having somebody come and clean our house, like us having other people do a service for us. Ultimately, yes, there's like a lot of times a monetary exchange, but in reality, they're helping us. It's okay for us to wake up one day and realize like, hey, I need a break from my kids. I need somebody to come help me watch my children so I can have some me time. Like, these are all things that it's so important to learn how to ask for help, how to accept help, and understand that there should be no shame around that. And there should be no second guessing of like what the other person's trying to get out of you, because ultimately that's their own thing. And for me personally, when I started I got forced into learning how to accept help, but I really invite you guys that if this is something that you've personally struggled with, that just challenge yourself, get comfortable asking for help and receiving help. I know me personally, I've also always been uncomfortable, like accepting compliments or accepting love, like accepting like whatever. This is all a part of that. If you're somebody who struggles with self-confidence or you don't see your own value, it's not a surprise when that you don't feel like okay accepting help, because you feel like you may not be worth it. And let me tell you that we are all human beings. Back in the day, as I mentioned earlier, we were all a community helping one another survive. And it's it's okay to still have those things in our lives. And I think a lot of times, regardless if you were raised by a parent that had these programming, gosh, like I did, or if you're just somebody who grew up in the West where everything is about like pulling up your bootstraps and the American dream and all of that stuff, a lot of it is very like individualized. A lot of it is very like it's you for you and that's it. And that's not how it's been like previously, like over the years and in other cultures. Like that's very much a American thing to really think that we are all individuals and that we don't need one another, because we absolutely do. So if you're somebody who has struggled with accepting help, I invite you this week to either find a moment when you can accept somebody's offer for help, or find a moment when you can ask somebody for help. Like this is something like super important. Put this on your homework list, write this in your journal, and I want you to do this little task, and then I want you to journal about it. What comes up whenever you asked for help or whenever you accepted help? How did that make you feel? Did you have shame around it? Did it feel good? I want to know in the comments below, but especially write in your journal about this experience. This is really a great moment to reflect and to try to understand where your relationship is when it comes to accepting help from others, and just understanding that getting help from others is a form of energy, it's a form of love, and it's okay to accept that. So I'm going to be posting a lot more videos about my own personal journey. It's been a wild one, so please like this video, share this video if it resonated, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and please comment below. I want to know how your experience was with accepting or asking for help. So I'll see you on the next video.